Hey everyone, welcome to Connected Live. I'm doing another one. I wanted to do it this morning and I now realize it's 3:37 here, Central Time US. Good grief. The day went by really fast. I did a lot of work, got to work with a couple of clients, and then thought the house was incredibly quiet, which is unusual with a little one in the house. Let me see if I can show you guys the little one. There he is. The two adults have run away. So I've got my young ones who have run away my older ones that have run away because they're exhausted from dealing with such a young pup. Man, I haven't done this in a bunch of years, so yeah, you can tell by my face. I'm exhausted. I'll never do a puppy again. Only adult dogs from now on, but this is a special puppy, which I'll do a different Connected Live on because I want to talk a little bit about that. That noise in the background was Thor stretching. Thor is known for his groaning. He groans at all hours, at all times, even when he's dead asleep. Okay, so the Connected Live today, I kind of wanted to address some things. I know a lot of people were disappointed about yesterday, and I don't do the psychic readings like some people are doing on this, and the remote viewing. I can do those things, but I really don't choose to do them because I try to walk the talk of living presently, because that's really the key to everybody's sanity. So a lot of people are saying, what happened yesterday? Why were the events so different from what a lot of the predictions were? But I think what happens is people grab onto things and they want resolution now, and as anybody who knows me well enough, is patience is not one of my virtues. So I get it. Like yesterday, I really kind of was disappointed as well about everything going on, and very frustrated with the continuing of the fear mongering around this whole COVID thing. And I guess, I would hope that people would, again, if they put, even with their fear mongering, if they put that much energy into getting people to be healthy and do foundational medicine as they do about talking is as, dangerous or as can infect people as much as coughing can. Why not start really pummeling the public with, you really should be taking this much vitamin D, you really should be taking this, and you should be taking that, and you should be getting your blood work done, and you should be looking at your diet, and your are you at a healthy weight, and all these things that, yes, I personally believe that this virus came out of the lab. That's everything. My instincts tell me that across the board, 110%. So I do feel like we're dealing with something that's very virulent, and if you're not at optimal health and your body doesn't have all the nutrition that it needs, yes, you're going to get sick. And then I also feel like it hasn't been handled correctly. There was another study that came out saying something about putting people on ventilators was actually the wrong thing to do and was not what people should have been doing. And they should have never gotten to that point at all. They should have, if they had the optimum D levels and all the optimum nutrients in them, and had jumped on it super quick when they started getting symptoms, because the symptoms are so wide ranging, it can be allergy symptoms to common cold to flu. I guess people in denial think, oh no, I haven't been exposed, and so they let it go, and then 5 days in, their lungs are having a problem. And then, you've got to fight the uphill battle of, being on the wrong side of the wave, if you will, which I actually had happen to a couple of my clients. I said, gee, when did these symptoms start? And they said 5 days ago. And I said, why didn't you call me? all bunch of times that happened. I'm like, why didn't you call me? well, we thought it was allergies. We thought it was this. And then it kept getting worse and we kept thinking it'll get better. And I was like, no, 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 no. So, even with 5 days of allowing it to kind of roll on down the hill, if you will, I was able to help pull a bunch of people out of it so that they didn't end up in the ICU. And so, we had to, address it very aggressively, very quickly. So again, I just wish the fundamentals of health would be dealt with. I mean, you just have to think about it. If the conventional new thing that they have out there was so awesome, why do they have to coerce, cajole, bribe in some cases, threaten people's livelihoods of, oh, you can't come to work if you don't have this thing that's new and not really well tested and blah, blah, blah. And if you disagree with me, that's fine. I really don't need your comments. I know what the other side of the arguments are, and they don't hold water with me because I've been through conventional medicine when I got sick, and I was basically told I wasn't going to do so well. And most people know my story. And I got myself out of it, and I'm 51 this year, and I've got injuries, and you can tell there's no special lighting. I've been outside. I have had no sleep in 2 weeks, just to be honest with y'all. And my face is just, at 51, when you don't get sleep, everything goes, ooh. And it's because I have a puppy. So, yeah, I'm exhausted right now, but I wanted to get on and talk about this. And then I did want to talk about what happened yesterday as far as anybody who follows me knows what I'm thinking and where I'm at. And I've been really fascinating that this time period has a lot of gifts. I've been introduced to a couple of different people that I've really, they have explained so much of my life that I'm really thrilled at having been exposed to them. So one guy is Charlie Ward and the other guy is Simon Parks. And I saw a lot of comments on their pages like, we've all been had. You guys are liars. You've deceived us. Ouch. It's not, let's think about this. If there's a greater plan out there of light versus dark, do you think anybody is going to have the real plan and is going to be able to talk about it on YouTube videos and know what the steps are? You're going to have a vague idea of what's going on, but you're not going to know the whole picture because then you're telegraphing every movement to the opposite side. Note that I say light and dark. I don't focus on a party, don't focus on a person, don't focus on a savior, if you will. Focus on light. Focus on whatever your spiritual practice is. If you're Christian, focus on your spiritual practice. If you're Jewish, focus on your spiritual practice. Pray for the light to win. And everything will come out okay. This argument between red and blue and people on one side of the fence and people on the other side, if what I think is happening happens, it eventually is going to be made very clear. And it's honestly, I told you so, or rubbing it, people's noses in it, it's not going to be good. Just focus on the light and focus for everyone to heal. And that's what actually my whole life has been about with my practice, Connected Energy. If a population is authentically connected and you are allowed to tap into all those other skill sets. So there's the 5 senses that are completely accepted by everybody. And then there are all these other senses that supposedly gifted people have. The fact is we all have intuition. We all have these different senses. Some people have them stronger in different departments. I kind of have them across the board, and they come out as needed to help animals and people heal from whatever it is they need healing from. So that's why when you go to my website, you don't see a psychic reading, mediumship, you don't see a menu. Because for me, they are tools in the toolbox. They're skills that are there to help animals and people heal. And so I don't want to guarantee a reading because that may not be what the person actually needs. And most people see those things as entertainment value. They're curious. So like a person will call you and say, I want to talk to my dead aunt, great aunt, so-and-so. Why? Because you want to? Doesn't mean that it's necessary, and doesn't mean that it should be treated as an entertainment. I've always said, at least how the other side communicates with me, that none of this stuff is about entertainment. It's actually quite serious business. And like sometimes people will come to me for past life stuff. They're convinced that their past life is really an issue and in their current life. And I'll be like, okay, well, we'll do a healing session and let's take a look at that. And inevitably, I get, even when I think I won't, I get a lot of information about their past lives, which then I, in one particular case, to be honest, I begrudgingly have to admit that it really did affect their current life. And I did have to explain to them what happened, which then explained the connections that they have in this life to those issues. And once we dealt with that, it was really interesting. We brought it into their consciousness. The person was actually able to move forward really easily and effortlessly in their life without a load of drama. And so I have to, eat my hat on that one. I was wrong. So even when I am predisposed to thinking a certain way about a situation, the other side kind of bitch slaps me and gives me the information I need to get in order to help that person. So, being authentically connected means you can tap into all those other listening. I call them listening skills because they truly are communication skills. They truly allow us to connect on every level that is applicable to healing, like the energetic level, completely applicable, emotional level, completely applicable, physical level, completely applicable. So why wouldn't you want access to every listening skill you've got in order to conduct your life? So authentically connected people cannot be scared into doing things. Authentically connected people see truth really clearly. And so, as I explained in one of my videos, pretty much my whole life, I've been speaking truths that weren't obvious to other people, which got me, as a kid, told to be quiet. As a young adult, you don't know what you're talking about. In my professional career, you're crazy. Sometimes it took 15 years to get vindicated. And 15 years later, I did get vindicated on a lot of topics, including this connection thing, including how I work. And people have been like, you've been right all along. Because when I was young, like a kid, I would make all the connections in a situation. I'd be like, well, that connects to this and this and that and that. And my parents were like, you're crazy. None of those things have anything to do with each other. And I was like, oh, actually, they really do. But because I was a child, they couldn't hear me. So here as an adult, as part of my practice that's integrated into that, my clients are going, God, Gabby, you're so right. Now I see all the connections, how everything is connected. And then once they wake up to being able to make all those connections in their life so that they can have a direction, whether it's with personal issues, career issues, relationship issues, family issues, animal issues with behavior and training, they start to really see and have a clarity that they've never had before. And like the whole purpose of why I do what I do is just that. And it's really about waking people up, and we're in the Great Awakening, which is fascinating to me. So if everything didn't turn out the way you hoped yesterday, now is not a time to be angry. If you're angry, and I had a great conversation with a friend, she's really just out of college, wonderful friend of mine from college, and she's an Orthodox Christian, and just love speaking with her. And she really uplifted me because I literally, after I saw everything that I saw and felt everything that I felt, I was like, I don't think there's anyone I can talk to, and I need a drink. And I, of course, didn't, because that's not healthy for me. But I talked to her, and one of the things that we talked about was in her spiritual practice, they are also taught to keep, I'm going to paraphrase her, keep an even keel. No highs, no lows. Getting angry, getting really sad, getting really into the negative emotions are like portals or invitations. It's a very low energy that allows for anything dark to prey upon you energetically. And then that comes into the emotional and then the physical. And so as she talked about it, I kind of went, God, that's the same philosophy I carry. The Buddhists carry that philosophy of, like, if you talk to a Buddhist monk, Tibetan Buddhist monk, and you go, oh my God, look at that sunset. It's so beautiful. And the monk's like, yes, everything is beautiful. They don't have highs or lows. Their spiritual practice is to stay right on even keel, peace, harmony. Everything is beautiful. Everything is in a state of gratitude. It's not that they don't have joy. They just approach it from a very healthy place. And I said to her, God, you're so right. It's like the highs and lows really aren't good for us. They're extremes. And we should all practice keeping our center. So we have to remember that the quality of our life, yes, Americans, we the people, the Constitution, the Republic, it's active citizenship, and for decades and decades we've let it go, and we all have to kind of get back into the discipline of really seeing what Washington is up to, because both sides are a mess. Anybody who knows me and has listened to me speak over the years, both sides are a mess. The corruption is unparalleled. Like, I can't tell the difference between the mob and politics, whether it's Republicans or Democrats. They're all dirty. And they're all making money the wrong way. And they're all selling the people, our people, us, down the river. So yeah, we gotta really figure out how to clean it up. And that is by being active in our voices. And to quote many who have come forward, I'm not gonna name names, but many, violence is never the answer. It's just not. Peaceful protesting, peaceful demonstrations, all those things are very relevant. But I will say, we've had in 2020, please go back to studying history. Take a look at the Bolshevik Revolution. The destruction of businesses, the destruction of cities, the blaming. None of those things were really hammered down on. And every time they arrested people, DAs were letting people go left and right. Small businesses were destroyed. People's lives were destroyed. People were murdered. Innocent people were shot and caught in the middle of all this. This is never the way. Like, anybody in history who has truly made a difference has come forth with nonviolence. So there is a way to make your point known through peaceful means. And a lot of people don't realize that the more positive you keep your mind and the more in harmony you are within yourself, and that you live in and sit in that place of love and confidence and faith, you affect everything around you. And the more people who pick up on this vibration, it's like a community consciousness, because everything is connected. And so if all that good, if everybody just commits to being in their center and being in that heart place and being in that compassion place, like my baggage, my lessons, I've spent a lifetime being ridiculed and a lifetime of, you're crazy. And then inevitably I'm proven right. But whenever someone says or tries to invalidate me or attacks me for a certain point of view, I get so impatient and I get really angry. And again, that's my lesson. And so yesterday was one of those moments. And then I got to talk to my friend from college and we had a great conversation. And she helped me get my head out of my butt and regroup. And I spent time with the dogs and the horses, and they helped me get my head out of my butt and regroup and say, the best thing that I can do to participate in a movement towards the Great Awakening is to keep doing what I do every day. Work on my book, work with my clients, walk the talk, do everything I'm supposed to do to be the very best person, the very best me I can be, because that energy does affect others, even from doing these connected lives to posts that I do about animals and people. So if you're upset about yesterday and you feel betrayed or let down or lied to, you haven't. It's just when you're in something as big as the Great Awakening and, going from 3D to 5D, it ain't going to be clean. It's going to be messy. And there's going to be a lot of fight in there and a lot of weird stuff. And the only way to go through it is to come back to your center. Within you is where the peace lies. Nothing external can bring you peace. It literally forces us to go within if we know to do that. So that's like why all of my clients who are so amazing that I work with, and I love my clients, they'll tell me I would never be getting through this time period but for all the work that we've done or that we're doing. Because they're not panicking. They're like, we keep going within, we keep finding that peace, and then we focus on what we can do, and we stop looking at the future, and we stay in the present. That's, again, my focus on the present is not because I'm trying to cop out of doing psychic work, but it's because I feel that the universe, the creator, put us here to be present. Not to constantly knowing what the future is going to be, because that's not, then what's the point of being here? We're here to learn. And we only learn by being present. And there even is a Harvard study on being present. People who are present are the most happy, peaceful individuals. The ones that stay in the past or the ones that go into the future are the ones riddled with anxiety and depression. So staying in the present is really key to staying not only energetically healthy, emotionally healthy, and physically healthy. All those three things, that's the ticket. And so if you start to get a little lost, go back to your center, go back within yourself, go back to who you are. What can I do? What positive thing can I do today? And whether it's going to the post office and smiling at someone, or whether it's playing with your animals, or teaching your animals something new today. I was working with Bo today, and I said, we're at 10 weeks. I say no, and I get he tries to be ferocious, and I try not to laugh because he gets madder at me. And he has this temper tantrum. He's hysterical. He's such a great puppy. God, he's teaching me a lot. I don't know who's teaching who more. I think he's teaching me more. I'm exhausted at a puppy, but at the same time, I'm really joyous over it too, because he's teaching me so much. And Baldor's having a good time too. Baldor, the old man, kind of has a third wind, if you will, because he got a second wind with Thor, and now he has a third wind with the puppy. And he takes this hemp knotted rope and puts it in his mouth, and then leads the puppy all over the house with it. Or if he's tired, he'll lay down, grab one side, and the puppy pulls and pulls and pulls, and it's like nothing to Baldor. Baldor's just sitting there going, son, you're too small. You're not pulling me nowheres. So I go back to those places. I go to the horses. I go to certain key people who help bring me back into balance, because I have lessons too. I'm a person too. I got angry yesterday too, and that lowered my vibration, and I felt crappy, and I went, ooh, this is not good. And I did. I reached out for help, and I got my help through a friend and the animals, and I recentered, and I woke up this morning with a lot more hope. And then I listened to like Charlie Ward and Simon Parks, and there were some explanations there. But do I rely on that to get through my day, or think that the intel that they have is what I lean on for my day. No, I go there for information because I can't turn on MSM. I just can't. I mean, I turn that on and can feel and hear the lies so succinctly that it's mind-blowing. Like, I can tell when they're lying. And I just, as an uber empath, I can't take it. I can't even, and my husband can't take it either. And we've turned off the TV. We watch TCM, we watch movies, old movies, things with positive black and whites, things with Jimmy Stewart. You know, we try to find everything positive as possible. And we stick to ourselves. And I believe the light will win. I have been shown it time and time again. I walked into a house that was deemed satanic when I lived in Hollywood for, they were filming. I was the only one that night not touched. The only one that didn't have an accident. The only one that didn't get set on fire. Yeah, we actually had that kind of crazy stuff happen. And, they asked me, you're the only one who wasn't attacked. Why? Because I sit in the light. And I authentically have connection to the light. I actually have faith. True faith. And so I just walked in there peaceful. I didn't walk in there with an attitude like, I'm going to make this thing go away, or I'm going to banish this thing. Because, to be honest, if you think you can banish an interdimensional being, yeah, that's ego. But if you sit in the light and you allow the light to come through, the light, shadow can't exist in light. It just can't. So it's like there was a priest there, a Catholic priest. Hey, I was raised Catholic. And he had crosses and holy water. And I'll say he got touched. Let's just say it, leave it at that. And, I didn't talk to him much, but when they were questioning me, he came over and he said, well, maybe you didn't get touched because you're part of the darkness. And he kind of snarled it at me. And I went, wow. Instead of pointing the finger at me, why don't you look at yourself? And maybe your faith is not what you actually think it is. And maybe you need to go back and go look at yourself and your faith. Because my experience is that if you truly have belief in the light, you don't need a cross. You don't need the holy water, because those are merely symbols. If you have the light of that in you, no darkness can touch you, because it's so firmly rooted in you. And that's like a lot of spiritual teaching, is that God is, God, creator, universe, light, love, Buddha, whatever you believe in. The universal concept is love. It is within us. They say we're made in the image of the creator. So it is within us. And we just have to learn how to authentically tap into it. But everything around us says it's something external. And it really isn't. So to get through these times, go within. If you're having trouble doing that, make an appointment with me. It's well worth it. If you need help with your animals, it's well worth it. The relationship that I can help you have with your animals, like people always say, I have these unearthly relationships with these magnificent animals, because I have allowed that connection to go beyond behavior work, to go beyond training. We're sharing a life. And I consider it education. So I have very high expectations from my puppy, my baby, Bo. I think he's brilliant. I think he's smart. I think he's loving. He can be so sweet, and then he has a temper tantrum, and I think I'm dealing with the Tasmanian devil. And the temper tantrum passes, and I help him have it pass. Like sometimes he needs his crate. He needs a timeout to rethink and reset. And then he comes back out and he's this loving little angel again. And it's just education. That's how I see it. I don't see it as training or correcting him. No, I'm educating my animals so that they grow up to be the best versions of themselves, kind of like how I help people to be the best versions of themselves. So that is my Connected Live for today. Thank you all for those who follow me. Thank you for all my clients. And if you have any questions, please post them in the comments. I do answer, and I will be posting this on YouTube. Thank you. All right, you guys have a great one. Bye-bye.